Yeah.
What about my kicks?
For those of you who can't see, Steve is wearing a very well, not so loud tropical shirt. It only has a couple colors to it, but I'll give him a B for effort at least, and that's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
See, Mark's my hero, so that's why I'm going to start wearing these for the radio program.
Just for the radio
Got another.
program?
I got another one
Just for the
donated last
radio
night.
program? What about the rest of your life?
No,
No. Oh my
no.
goodness. I'm not a very big inspiration.
Yeah,
if
you
you're
are on the radio.
on the radio where we can't see everything. Eunice, pull your microphone up to your mouth there a little closer. Say good.
How's that?
Yes. Greetings to you, young lady. How are
Hi,
you?
I'm good.
Yeah. And the other young lady next to you, how are you doing there, Mary Ellen? Oh, you know what? I don't have her microphone. This is live radio, folks. Where is Mike? There we go. Mic number 4. Turn it on. There.
Hello, me rich.
Ah,
Bonjour,
there we
bonjour.
go. Bonjour. Well, what is the show about today, Steve?
Well, Eunice is here.
You're in charge.
She's going to talk about her education and
Her education.
yep,
My education.
and her
Yeah.
job and how they connect.
She
and-
got a job too.
yeah,
Ah.
and how they connect and hopefully other people will want to walk that same path, that same
Yeah.
educational journey. So really pleased to have her here tonight.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of start from the beginning, Eunice. I know you've told your story here on the radio before, but let's give us the Reader's Digest version of your story and, the life of addiction that you came from. Talk about that, and then what inspired you to follow the path that you're on now.
Oh, bonjour. For me, I was pretty bad. I did a lot of harm to my community. I did a lot of harm to my family, my kids, myself. I really, back then, I really didn't care as long as I was getting high or had my substance.
Yeah.
I was okay, I thought, but so I ended up going to prison.
Mm.
I was selling drugs and mostly just selling drugs to use drugs,
Yeah.
keep my supply going so I wouldn't feel the pain physically and emotionally. I had a lot of pain that I was dealing with back then, and I didn't want to deal with it. So
Right.
that's why I used pretty much. And so I ended up going to prison. Actually, so I was already almost a year sober when I went to prison. I kind of made a deal with my creator that I would change my life around if he got my son out of jail because I seen him get arrested, and it was basically my fault. If I wasn't living that lifestyle, he wouldn't have been
Yeah.
part of that either. You know, um, at least I like to think that way. I know that they say that it's the person, but I think your surroundings has a lot to do with it too. Um, so I made a deal with my creator if he got my son out of jail that I would turn my life around and change my life and
Mm.
stop doing what I was doing, and So my son got out. He got out of jail the next day, and I had to keep my promise.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So, and that was July 5th. Well, I actually turned myself in. I think it was July 3rd, and I was pretty messed up when I turned myself in. I was high off my anxiety pills,
Mm,
and I don't even remember 3 days, 4 days in jail. I don't remember. Um, and I'll never get that back, you know.
mm-hmm.
But I come to, I think it was July 5th. I want to say it was July. I can't really remember, so I picked July
Yeah.
5th. I know that I wasn't using on July 5th, so
Right. Yeah.
still might have been in my system, but I wasn't
Right.
using.
Yeah.
So, um, um, I forgot where I was going. But yeah, so um that's my sober day. So it was in October when I seen my son arrested, and I was doing 9 months at that time. And and that's when I made that deal with him. So I had to follow through, and um so I did my 9 months. I got out, I was still clean. I started going to meetings. You know, um I got it. I got a maintaining a drug house charge in the
Mm,
process of sitting in jail, but
yeah.
they were building up a case. So, but um, after jail, I think I went to work for a while, and then it was um, June of 14. I was sentenced to 18 months in prison. And I
Mm,
got the early release program, which was a miracle because a lot of people weren't really getting it, and the district attorney at the time wasn't really all gung ho about me you know, getting that help or getting out early,
sure. Yeah.
you know. So for me, it was in prison where I surrendered pretty much.
Mm,
I um I started taking that program seriously, and I turned my will and my life over to my creator, and it's been a roller coaster bed, you know,
yeah.
but it's been good. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't go
Hmm.
back. I mean, there's times that I think about that, and it's a part of my addiction,
Yeah.
that I would think that life would be better,
Yeah.
but it's not. And I know um before I went to prison and sobered up and all that stuff, I was trying to go to school. I was off and on trying to sober up, so I would go to school, and then I would end up using, and then I would quit school, and it was like that for about a good 5, 6 years, and um, it was just it was just a vicious cycle, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Mary Ellen, where were you at as a mother and a grandmother watching your daughter, destroying her life, and she ended up in jail, and your grandson was in jail? What was that like for you watching
A roller coaster.
that?
But I was afraid for her going to jail all the time,
Yeah.
and she was in and out of jail a lot. And each time that she was in jail, I saw a change in her. And after a while, when she was looking at prison time, I was kind of the coaster was slowing down a little bit.
Sure,
But
because you knew that would isolate her from her drug use.
at least I knew I would know where she
She
was,
said, and she was safe, and yeah,
and she
right.
was safe. And that,
Wow.
but yet you can get drugs in jail too.
No.
And I was out there. I've been out there. I know what it's like, and when you know what it's like, you seems like you have a lot more to worry about, for
Mm,
your kids. And we had a we had an intervention with her a few years before that.
mm,
And, she took the tobacco, and that's what I was that's what I was relying on. And she took that tobacco, and I knew that she would come out of it.
mm,
And I didn't know how, but I knew that she would. But the more I saw her in jail, and the more when she went to prison, the more I saw her working herself, the more relaxed I was, and wanting to help her, you know. But when she was using, I couldn't help her at all.
yeah.
I just couldn't, and it was hard to watch. But when you have that faith, when you have that faith and belief in the Great Spirit and that tobacco, it just it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
So Eunice, you get out of jail, and what's your next steps in life and your roller coaster?
Well, when I got out of prison, um, I ended up getting cancer. So
Mm,
I got cancer of the thyroid, and um, the first time they thought they got it all, and then it came back. So I had to go through surgery again. Um, so far, I've been cancer free
mm,
for about 3 years now. So,
mm,
um, but I started when I got out. I started going to counseling again. I started seeing uh, this lady at Fajiki, and she was the one that got me started in doing groups. You
yeah.
know,
Right.
um, I did a lot of groups.
Hmm.
I started a lot of groups. I and it was fun. I enjoyed doing it. And it helped me to stay sober, and it gave me something to do. You know, just being with other people with the same problems, and um, just being a part of helping them.
Yeah.
Help me. I was going to meetings and stuff like that too, but I was also doing women's groups. I was doing, talking circles. I was, started the first NA meeting around here. We never had a NA meeting before. It was always AA,
Yeah.
and we never had NA. So he helped me start, an NA meeting. He gave us a place at the clinic. We were at the old clinic, but they were at the old clinic then.
Sure.
And, we would meet down there. A lot of times it was just me, I mean, good 6 months, it was just me by myself. But
Wow.
I and but I stuck with it. waited, and little by little, people started coming, and then we moved over to Tzatziki, and then we had, it was like maybe 5 or 6 regulars that would come every week, and it was a good group, but it was just, we were having a hard time keeping places that we would meet, the with the program and with the meetings and stuff, there needs to be consistency. So, I mean, you can't just go 1 or 2 weeks and then, "Oh, I'm sorry, we can't meet here, so group is canceled." You can't do that, and we need a place that we can meet that's ours, and nobody can kick us out. Nobody can, take away the key, or, we don't have to wait for anybody to open the door, or somebody, you know, a lot of times over at at Baziki, we had, one of the counselors volunteered his time to switch his time so that we could meet at night
Mm,
over there. So, that was really awesome of him, and it worked for a while, but it like like I said, it just it wasn't, consistent.
yeah. Mm,
So, that's really one thing I always wanted, was to try to get someplace where we could all meet,
yeah.
and that would be ours. And I still have that dream, but it's like, how do you start it, What kinda thing, and I'm slowly learning more and more from where I'm working. Working at Fujiki, it's helping me, um, learn more about, making those contacts, um, how to talk to people, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. So you've been attending these meetings or leading these meetings. What was the moment that you thought, I want to start working on a better education for myself? Tell us about
I think
that.
it was, in 2017, I believe it was the first time that I actually got paid for what I was doing.
Oh, well,
Yeah, and it was at through Bijiki, through the CCS program. I was their, kinda like an advisor kinda
mhm,
type person for cultural and spiritual stuff. I would take people. I don't consider myself a spiritual leader,
yeah,
but I would take people and, um, bring them to people that work,
okay,
or, um, take them to sweats, take them to the powwows even, um, so I guess that kinda, I've always wanted to be a AODA counselor ever since I think the first time I sobered up, that was when I was 16. So, that was always in the back of my head,
yeah,
and it was 2018 was when I started school, and I said, "Okay, I'm gonna try this." And I started with the AODA certificate,
mm,
and to my surprise, no, I did good.
yeah.
Yeah, and I got my certificate. So,
And what did that allow you to do?
well, it helped me. It's like it helped me want more. I know I want to be an AODA counselor, but I also want to do more than just AODA.
Mhm,
But I needed that licensure first. So Bajiki, when got hired on at Bijiki, they helped me to make that happen.
Mm.
Um, so I'm still waiting though for that licensor. I have everything's all in. It's just a matter of time waiting for them to um, get their act together, I guess.
Mm.
um, the people that give you the license. But
Now, is that through the state of
yeah,
Wisconsin, or is that Peachey itself?
the state of
The state
Wisconsin.
of Wisconsin. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, but Bijiki has been really patient. They've been really patient with me getting my sacket, um, because that's part of my job. One of the requirements for that job is to have a sacket,
Mm-hmm.
and so they've been pretty patient, and which I appreciate. But it's yeah, like I said, it's just waiting game right now. But, I think just being able to I think being sober really, um, showed me that I can do anything I set my mind to.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I could do good in school. I never did good in school, Back then I was using. Grade or high school, I was using. I quit when I was in first 2 weeks in 10th grade, you know? I was told then that I wasn't college material, um,
Mm.
and it's like so for a long time, I believed that, and every time I failed when I was using, it's like, "Well, that's what they told me," that's the way it was. That's how I was gonna be. I'm not college material. But when I sobered up and I, um, got my certificate, and I think I was on the dean's list, and,
Oh.
it was either the dean's list or president's list, I can't remember for the certificate, but, since then, I've been on the president's list twice and the dean's list 3 times.
Now
So
this is
it's
a
like
good list, right? This is a good
yeah. It's a good list.
list.
So it just being sober, I'm able to do that, you
Yeah.
know? Um, I know I wouldn't be able to do that if I was using. Um, and I do have some smarts.
Mm.
And I am college material.
Yes.
I'm university material.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
in terms of sequence for those people out there that are, thinking about following that same path. So you you got it's like a one-year certificate program, is that what it is?
yeah, see, the requirements for that one-year program is I think you need year, um, a 2-year, I can't remember how she put that, but it's like, 2 years in 2 years in college or something like that, but,
Yeah.
because I had life experience,
Yep.
I didn't need to do that. That
Experiential
qualified
experiential credit, like, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that qualified for that 2-year thing.
Wow.
So,
So the certificate, is it like a number of credit hours or
yeah, there's so many I can't even remember, it's been so long.
yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah, it's like you get all these, there's, whole years worth of classes that add up to those
Yeah,
credits that you need to get that certificate.
Mm.
But, and with the licensure, there's a s there's a certain amount that you have to get too.
yeah.
Um,
Then the next step would be like an associate degree or
Well, you don't necessarily need associate degree.
Okay.
Um, I chose to go on because to be I want to go farther than just the AODA counselor. I want
Okay.
to do more than just the AODA.
Yeah.
So with the AODA, you can only do alcohol and drugs. You
Yeah.
can't counsel psych. You know, you
Yeah.
can't. Um, you would need to go higher, or get a degree in psychology, stuff
Mm,
like that. So that's where I'm headed. Um,
okay.
yeah, I'm working towards. Um, my dream is to work towards a doctorate in psychology.
Okay.
Um, my next step is my bachelor degree. I will get hopefully when I pass.
When you
And
pass
when
it.
I pass,
Yeah.
I will get that in next spring. So next May, graduating with my bachelor's degree, and then I'm gonna go on to a master's in social work.
Okay.
Okay.
So the bachelor's degree would be in human services.
Yeah,
Is that what it is?
yeah.
Yeah. And so that's great. That's a great path. And so, do you get any other letters and numbers added onto your license if you get a baccalaureate degree or associate's degree, or
Um,
like there's CSAC and all that other, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, you get to use your BA degree.
Yeah.
um, and then I could I think it's after I get my bachelor's degree, I can, if I wanted to do um, clinical um, second or clinical AODA, or I can't remember what it's called. That's what one of my coworkers is, Diane. She's clinical.
Psychologist?
No,
Psych.
AODA.
Oh, okay.
Like
She
CSAP or
she
whatever.
you yeah.
Yeah.
See, substance abuse counselor or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's I think you can do that with a bachelor's,
Hmm.
I believe.
Oh, good.
Um,
Yeah, it's good for people to know kind of that. And about how long do you think it took you? Did you go full time or?
I went full time.
Yeah.
I was working full time. I was going to school full time. I was also doing internship at college for
Hmm.
15 hours a week. Yeah, 2 years I was pretty busy. Didn't have a life.
So
Still
people,
don't have a
so
life.
people need to
No.
think probably about a couple years then, in order to put it all together.
Or for the certificate, yeah, about a year.
Yeah.
If you don't have that life or that life
Yeah.
extra, um, what you need before you
Yeah.
can do the AODA certificate, then it's gonna take a couple years, yeah.
Yeah.
So, it took me a year and a half.
Plus, you were
So
doing all those other things too.
and at the time, I mean, for me, it was everything that I was doing was new. So when I had to write an essay, I was like, "Uh,
Yeah. I said.
how do
Yeah.
I do that?"
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can barely put sentences together sometimes. But so I had one class that I had to do finals on, and I told myself I couldn't do it, so I didn't do it,
Uh,
and set me back. Yeah. Otherwise, I woulda got my certificate on time
Mhm.
within a year.
Is there a person at the university that is like oversees the substance abuse?
Yeah, it used to be, Lisa Manu, but now it's, um, Brooke. I can never say her last name. She'd go get mad at me if she hears this.
Mhm.
I mean, people can, like, get a hold of the college and
Yeah,
say, "I'd like to do this," and
yeah.
whatever, and
We
they can
just have to get
get
a
the information.
yeah,
Yeah, because I have a couple, 3 people that are interested in it, and that's why I wondered, I just
yeah.
wondered 'cause, uh, yeah, that's
They
great.
they would just have to call the college and ask about, they wanna get more information about the EOD certificate program, and then
Okay,
Mm.
the front desk people will know who to send them to,
cool.
so,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was really wondrous listening to her, and she was writing and studying
Yeah,
and listening to her, trying to figure it out, and calling this one, calling that one. A
Did you help her write her essays?
little bit,
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
little
Ah,
bit.
okay.
Did an interview with her too.
Yeah.
wow, that's good.
Yeah, well, when was it, a couple weeks ago, telling me that she was getting her associates and that she was going to get her bachelor's degree next year.
Mm.
And then a couple days later, she was saying, "Yeah, I'm looking into graduate school." I thought, wow, holy crap! She's going to
Yep.
be in graduate school.
By then,
Yeah.
the
Wow.
university here might even have a master's degree put together, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I'm
Oh,
hoping.
they're going for a doctorate
I was
degrees
gonna say
too.
Yeah, I
we'll
know.
call her Dr. Eunice.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, doc?
Yeah. My nickname is Looney.
Yeah, I know.
So I was saying, yeah, you can call me Dr.
Looney.
Looney. It's psychology.
I'm sure clients will be lining up at your door to
Yeah,
see
Yeah.
Dr. Looney.
yeah.
Eunice
Yeah.
Looney, PhD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
You know,
So, yeah.
I'm really happy that there are people that are participants in the program that are in the community that want to go on and they do want to be substance abuse counselors. You'll hear me say this a lot of times is that um, like she's the model that I've had in my mind for all my career, and that is somebody that has done something, someone that has experience. They go on and get their education, then they
Mhm.
come back and work for their tribe.
Yeah.
Because what happens a lot is they'll get their education and then they won't go back to the tribe. And I'm seeing this more and more even here, where people are wanting to come back to work for the tribe. And that means a lot because it's like, who better to help those 7 generations, but folks that are, from the tribe.
Yeah.
Um,
We need more Native American counselors,
yep,
AODA counselors. And there's not enough of us, you know. I mean, I don't. I think we just relate more with our own people,
yep,
and that's not being prejudiced or anything like that. I'm trying not to be that way, but it's just the truth.
truth, yeah,
That's how Native American people are, is we relate to our own people,
yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
Plus, a lot of them have had bad experiences,
Mhm.
and so, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. I did even. I remember when I first tried to get help for, I used to be a really bad parent. I was sober at the time, but I wasn't sober, I was not drinking or anything, but, I was still messed up in my head, and I remember the first time I went to try to get help, and it was a psychiatrist, and he was non-native. Um, and I told him what was going on. I told him what I was doing. I was honest with him as I could be, and he threatened me with, "Well, I'll give you a week to tell um, social services, otherwise I'm reporting." And I took off out of there like out of I was like, never went back again. And then I never got help, you know.
Mm,
And it's just you don't say that to people, you know. And I think if it was somebody of color or our own people, I wouldn't said that, you know.
I don't think that. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
mhm. Plus, there's a lot of other faith-based treatment places, but you understand the traditional way
Yeah,
of spirituality and how to be healed through that traditional way, and that can only be taught by a native who knows these traditions
yeah,
because non-natives don't understand.
yeah,
They can't. They didn't
And
grow up with it. They
yeah,
didn't get taught it. They don't have, um, grandmas and great grandmas who are traditional, who are teaching them since they were little kids these things. And what your mom does for people as well is teaching them those traditional ways of healing, and that can only be done by someone who's been there, done that, and has received those teachings from the elders, and
yeah,
then can pass them on.
and knowing who to go to in the community.
Yeah,
That's a really big, that is a big thing.
to have that trust in the community
Yeah.
to be able to go to those people.
I had a friend of mine. She's was recovering, and she's non-native, and she's been in the field a long time, and she was um, kind of trying to help a native, and she was asking me about things, and I was telling her, and just couldn't understand. And I said, I says, you have a lot of education, you have a lot of experience, you know what's going on. I don't care how much education, how many years you've been sober, how many, how much you know. You'll never understand a Native American.
No.
Mm,
You'll
yeah,
never understand them. And we a long time ago we never had uh, trained um, people to work. We had 12 steppers that
yeah.
we called 12 steppers,
Hmm.
and we they would be recovering, and they would be in the program and training. They had more better results than anybody that was educated, trained, and everything else.
Mm,
And then the program started educating and training. Then you had to be licensed and getting your certificates, and it was really moving. We had a lot of people going in treatment, but then somewhere along the line, um, the Indian people natives started looking in other directions for education, school teachers, and so on. And then we lost native people that were interested in AODA. And so then non-natives came on board again, and that's the way it is.
mm,
You know, they don't understand. They couldn't understand, but you can't tell them that.
mhm.
You know, and this woman was really hurt because I said,
Mm.
but I said it's the truth. The truth.
It's like what Eunice was talking about, that psychiatrist or whatever that she went to, and then they said, if you're gonna, if you don't do this within so and so time, I'm gonna call, the authorities.
Mhm.
That's not the way to get results. I mean, um, how she acted is like just about anybody would act. And that's why I think it's so important that we do have people like Eunice in the community that set that example, that it can be done, and she's a good role model for those people that are wanting to pursue that path. They have somebody of their own that they can go and talk to about it. Like, what about this? Or what about that? That even a counselor at a university can't give them unless they're native. You know what I mean? Unless they have some experience, and that's why I think it's so important these days, um, that the universities and colleges throughout the country give experiential credit for experience, because there's like, how much better can it be than a person that's walked a mile in the on that same path that people are trying to get off of, the negative path. And so when you have somebody that's not only done that, but then is willing to move forward and get an education and meet the certification requirements that the state requires and stuff, it's even more important. But like she said, we don't have enough people.
Yeah,
So that's
we
why it's
need
so
more.
important. That's why it's so important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good when you got a daughter that's looking to be a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
In college.
That was my major in school too, psychology. But I got the pipe and I went with that. Pipe became more important.
Yeah. It's all the different paths that people have and the way they go about doing it's important. To have. I say this all the time till I'm bored at listening to myself. Is that all these different options that people have. I mean, back in the day when I started, there was, I told everybody 100 times on here, probably Monday nights at 7 o'clock at the city hall. Everybody know who the drunks in town were because their cars would be parked right out on the main street. That's about all we had. The military, we didn't have anything in the military. Now they have, the VAs working on things, and all the different menu items and things and opportunities that people have in the community, selections of different things they can do. And all the people working together. I mean, that's really important to give people as many options as they can take. And I know Mark said it on numerous occasions about the fact that maybe somebody can't make it at Monday night at 7 o'clock back in the day like me. But now there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Depends on you can where you want to go. And people can try things out. They aren't going to be.
You don't have to go to all of them. Just pick one.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
But they don't have to be embarrassed about it and
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I'm so sorry I couldn't make it to your meeting." But if they go to a meeting and they're part of a sobriety program, that's important. No matter where it is, whether it's at a clinic or whether it's at a meeting in the community or whether it's a club in town or wherever it is, it's important that uh, people get as much opportunity to participate in programs as they can and have that selection that they have now versus what they had before.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there can always be more, but I'm just saying that I think that's really important that people are starting to understand how important it is that if there's something out there, they can look at it and decide whether that's what they want to do. That's the place they want to go.
Yeah, you can even have campfire meetings now.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know? Yeah.
yeah,
Candlelight meeting.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yep, you can have all kinds of different things today, which
That's
is,
why we need a place here
I know,
so that we can do that.
and it's
Don't have to wait for somebody to.
okay it, or don't ask for
Yeah,
somebody to give you the key or somebody,
yeah.
all that other stuff.
It always surprises me, and I've said it a lot of times. People look all over the place for something that they want and need, talk about something that they need, and they don't look right in front of their
I know it.
right in
I
their own
know it.
backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Right
You know,
here.
they look all over.
Yeah,
I've got 10 acres over there, and I've offered it many times. They're looking for someplace else, and I wonder why.
I
You
don't
know,
know. I don't know. I, it's, it's mysterious to me, you know. It's when you find out the number of people. I do the program at the jail. When you find out the number of people that are incarcerated that are native and they don't have a lot of options there, and and they seem to want to have something. You know, the people do. You would think that people in the community would look at that and make that make that a priority, and make that something to move forward with. I don't know what is stopping them. I mean, when I've been hearing a lot of people on the radio and stuff and other places that are talking about the biggest challenges to the tribe, you know. But the challenges to the tribe spread over into the community and they become issues for the community, and that's important that they look at those things. But my dad used to say, you can't push a rope of sand, and it's true. You try pushing that rope of sand all you want, but it's not going to go anywhere. And so it's just going to take some people in the community to uh, take a chance or whatever, and support something like that, and and move forward with it. And I know we all been waiting for a long time, but uh, there's going to be some changes happening here in the future, and I think that there's an opportunity for some of the people who may take on those roles in the community, whether it be in Hayward or on the res, for them to take this up as an issue. I mean, they talk about it that it's such a pressing issue, and that we're losing all these young people and other people to fentanyl and all the other things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Everybody, you read about it all the time and you hear about it in speeches all the time, but the proof is in the pudding. Proof is in wanting to move forward and get those things done instead of just talking about them all the time. So, I'm not in any position to do any of that stuff, but I'll do what I've been doing for the last 4 years, and I'll help in any way I can. And I know the people sitting around here are willing to do that, but I don't know what they're looking for. To be honest with you, I don't. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
so we got a fasting camp coming up.
Yep.
Uh, you want to talk about that?
Yeah. Um, we have a fasting camp coming up. It's going to be uh, the end of this month, but this next coming Monday, we're going to have an informational meeting at Bajiki on fasting. Okay.
What teaching?
Pardon?
A teaching?
Yeah, teaching on fasting and what
Okay.
it's all about and all those other kind of things. Um, uh, from there, we'll get kind of an idea. I'm going to be putting a notice out on that. It's a week from today or Monday. No, Monday.
This
Next week.
coming Monday
This
is that
coming Monday.
meeting?
Yeah.
Gotta get that notice up.
Yeah. And so let me see here. Um, Yeah, it's 6:30 PM at the Bajiki. Brent's gonna be there and let us in and stuff, and, Mary Ellen and I'll be there, and, we're gonna get the word out to the community so they know. And then the actual fasting camp is gonna be, I'm gonna use 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, and 1st,
Mm-hmm.
but the 27th is gonna be a time to build a sweat lodge and to get kind of places assigned, uh, for those fasts, and people can do a 1, 2, 3, or 4-day fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they can do that, and we thought that we could talk about that more at the meeting too, get that out. But we'll do that, and then uh, notice about the camp again, put it out there. Maybe we'll bring something over here too that the radio station can get the word out, and I can take those flyers around the
Mm-hmm.
places in the community. Yeah,
Gonna
I'm
be
pretty
busy. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. We we we're opening it up to the first timers that want to do 1 day or 2 days or 3 days or 4 days, and we don't have to be an expert on fasting to come in and to talk and listen. And if you don't know anything about fasting, then you'll find out and we'll answer all questions. And we work with them really well. We don't leave them. You know, we don't when they're fasting. We don't leave the place. We stay there,
check on them and
and
stuff.
then we sing at night with the families if the families want to come over and support the one that their loved one that's fasting. We all sing to them and help them. So
What's
it's
the age limit for that for participation? How young can a person be to participate in that?
no age.
No age.
Mm.
Okay. Just a desire to go through that and learn from that.
Well, it's part of puberty.
Yeah.
It's part of puberty to know those teachings and to, like I said, young ones. We don't. Some I think we put my grandson out when he was like 5 or 6,
Wow.
and he went
Wow.
for 4 hours the
Mm-hmm.
first year, and then 4 or 5 hours the next year. But it was like when he was 12 or 13 that he went one night the whole time, one
Mm.
day. And he gradually went 4 days. But yeah, you just don't jump into something.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, my
really,
nephew's 13. We put him out for, uh, less than a month ago. For 4 days, he went out,
Mm.
but we did give him some things, some teachings and stuff before he went out.
mhm.
Yeah.
And people on their medicines, we work with them.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have to uh, not take their medicine those 4 days, so or 3 days, or 2 days, or
Right.
one
One
day.
day, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was at a meeting on when was that? Just the other day, Monday. No, wait. When did I go to Fond du Lac or Mille Lacs? Is that Friday?
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday, I was at this meeting in Mille Lacs, and they were taking they were taking stories from survivors
Mm-hmm.
from the boarding
Boarding
school.
Oh
schools.
yeah, with Deb Holland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was there and I was listening, and I got to talk to about my mother and my dad and how that affected us, and being without roots, the tribal roots,
Mm-hmm.
the values that we have, all the traditional things that helped us. at one time that were gone and were taken away from a lot of my mother and my dad, and how that affected me when I was growing up. And so we talked. There was, you know, a woman there that talked about how that affected her too, and how she didn't learn parenting because she was never parented
Yep.
because her mother was in a
Right.
boarding school,
I know.
and how that affects our. My mother wasn't in there that long. She ran away, and then they come and got her. My grandfather let her go back, and then she ran away again, and she what 8, 9 years old, and she walked 24 miles from the boarding school out in Hayward to Signer, my grandfather's place, and her home. And the second time she ran away, he wouldn't let her go back. He wouldn't let him take her back. And but just that amount of time, she wasn't there a year. That amount of time really affected her a lot. And she was so afraid for us, especially when I started getting my kids named, getting their Indian names. She wouldn't. She would go in the other room, or she wouldn't participate. And then when we did feast here, and she would never even take tobacco from me.
Mm.
Mm.
And and so then after she found out how good we were living and how the drinking had stopped, and how happy we were starting, and that they weren't going to come and take my kids away from me or put me in jail for doing what I was doing,
Yeah.
then she started participating too. She
Mm.
started relaxing, and she started stopped being afraid for
Yeah.
me, and so I talked about that, and how by that time, by the time I was 13, 15 years old, and the sexual abuse and things, by the time I was drinking then, and she couldn't stop me. And she hadn't I had nothing. I had nothing to hold on to.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
but
Wow.
I wasn't we w when I was talking about that, I wasn't alone because other people got up and talked too.
Yeah.
So, but the one thing I was telling them with the loss of our tribal roots and values and teachings and songs and stories, and not hearing a drum for so many years and not being able to dance and go to Medewan. The Medewan had to go underground. I said, now traditional treatment, to get a traditional treatment program going, can't find the money. There isn't any money for it.
Mhm.
Mm.
And I said, and that's really what we need. That's
Mm.
really what we need. But the government isn't giving me any money
Yeah,
for
I know.
that. So anyway, she took that. My evidence is there.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have just about a minute left. I wanted to give people some information on how to get a hold of anyone if they need help. Mary Ellen, we have your number here is 715-634-5806. And Steve, if anyone wants to reach you, it's at 231-357-6191. And reach out for help if you are considering getting sober and you don't know where to start, how to start that. You could call Mary Ellen, and Eunice sometimes might answer that same phone number. Um, and Steve might answer his phone number. But we're here to help. We're here to give you advice and give you direction on that red road. Right? Yep.
Yeah.
Miigwech for all of you for sharing your stories here.
Miigwech.
Which
Wea, wea, wea,